And it's Corey.
We're going to talk a little bit today about us, since you may have just been on here for the first time and you might be wondering what we're all about, where we came from, kind of our past. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're not going to bore you to death, I hope.
We'll try not to.
We'll try to tell some funny stories. So my name's Kim, of course, the Dunwich, and I grew up in Kingsville, and I've moved 24 times with my family. I have a husband and 5 daughters. So yes, my husband's still around. That's the big question when people meet me, when they find out we have 5 daughters. I also have 2 granddaughters. So the majority of my past has been in management, sales management, that type of thing. But I've always loved real estate. So I've always had really huge passion for real estate. I've always watched Realtor.ca, trying to find out which houses are selling, that kind of thing. So in actually 2000 is how I kind of got started in the real estate industry in a different way. In 2000, we decided to, actually 99, we decided to put our house up for sale in LaSalle, and I wanted to try to sell it privately. I was thinking, you know what, that might be an option. So I put the orange and black sign on the lawn, and I quickly started getting calls from realtors. So I allowed a realtor to come over. He said he had a buyer. I brought him into the house, and long story short, after he showed up without the buyer, I showed him the house. He continued to tell me, you can't sell your house on your own. What are you thinking? You're not going to be able to do the documents properly. And really started to make me feel like scared, afraid of the whole process. So after he left, I was actually feeling very empowered and pissed off. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It was in 2000 or 99. So at that time, I was like, what is there out there for people to be able to sell their own house? Because this is my house. Like, don't come into my house and tell me I can't sell my own house, right? That's kind of the attitude I had. And so I did everything I could to find the documents, the offer forms, and I started to go down this path of, why can't people sell their own home? So in 2000, I started a company called Private Exchange, which is helping people sell their house. And after 6 years of running the business, I sold it. We had 800 listings. It was super successful because people wanted to save commission and they wanted to sell their own home. So that was kind of my journey into real estate. And from there, moved to BC with all of my kids. And my husband, yes, we took him. And we had another baby. Actually, it was 4 babies. We had a BC baby, so that was number 5. After 8 years in BC, we ran a bakery. That was kind of a really random thing to do, but I don't know, it sounded fun at the time. Definitely wasn't. We moved all the way back to Windsor in 2012, and then that's when I got my real estate license. So 10 years in real estate, helping people. I definitely can say that I have a different view of being a realtor now. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy lifestyle. It's 24/7. And, my passion is to try to change the industry in some way to make it easier for people to sell their houses, save money, and that kind of thing. So I really love different, cutting edge ideas. I love disruption. I like being kind of on the outside of the circle, making sure that new and inventive, intuitive things are new inventions, or I don't even know what the word is for it, but different things can happen in real estate that can help people, right? So
absolutely. Well, I definitely have not lived in 20 houses.
We lived in 24.
24.
We moved 24 times. Yeah.
I've only owned 1 house so far.
We're totally opposite. That's a given. I mean, just judging from how much I talk and how much you don't.
This is true. Yeah. So
thanks, Corey.
It's but it's like it's something I'd want to do. Like, I wouldn't mind it. Like, I wouldn't mind. Like, I'm passionate about like flipping houses and that sort of thing. Okay. So my girlfriend, I put her through the ringer. So like, even things like, I don't know, a couple years ago, we had this little doorway into the kitchen, and I was like, you know what, that would look a lot better if it was open. It's like every home renovation show you see. It's like, we're just going to tear down the wall to open up the kitchen and have a nice big open concept. So it's like what everyone's doing, right? So I do it.
Do you do that? Okay.
I do it, but then, so I got this nice big opening from the living room to the kitchen. But then I've got a kitchen that's straight out of the 70s. Like, we're talking like the old wood paneling with like the Gothic style.
Now, you know?
No, this was rough. So at that point, next thing you know, I've got no kitchen. I've got we're washing pots and pans in the bathtub.
That is not fun.
And it's these renovations, you see them on TV, they take like 30 minutes. Oh, cool. Like it's done, right? You can't do a kitchen in a day. So we didn't prepare for that, but it did turn out well. So when, like a little backstory about me, I kind of got ahead of myself there.
Yeah.
So I've been in sales since as long as I could work, really. I started my career in clothing.
Okay.
Started at Old Navy back in the day.
Yeah.
That was I remember that was one of my first jobs, and I was so excited to get that because like you're in high school and you're like Old Navy.
Yeah.
And this is like when Windsor just got it too, so it was like all the rage.
Cool. Yeah.
And then so after that, I moved on to a little company that some of you might know of if you're
not Radio Shack.
No. This is if you're probably in your mid-30s or older, you'll know about Campus Crew.
Oh yeah, Campus Crew. That was the best.
That was my jam. So I worked there for actually probably about I worked there for a year. Then I moved up to managing, and I managed that for a year, and then I left to go to school over in the States.
Okay.
So I did a year of pre-medicine at Wayne State University. Mm-hmm. Traveling cross-border is tough. So anyone out there that's doing that travel, I know the struggle, and it wasn't fun. So I did the year. I moved back to Windsor, and then found a passion in sociology. And then something that I never thought I would really get into. And like you hear about it.
Medicine
like,
to sociology,
it was strange. Like, and it was because it just started out as some elective courses that I took at Wayne State. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then the next thing you know, I'm a sociology major. All through that, I got a job at Rogers Plus, started selling cell phones. Worked there for about 5 years. Then I moved to a company called Wireless Wave, and I worked there for a couple of years, and then transferred to Wireless Etc., which is inside Costco. So that's where a lot of people, like, if you've ever gotten a phone from Costco in the last decade, you probably have dealt with me in the past. Yeah. So I loved that. I loved that career. It was fun. Like, and it was, I liked helping people. Yeah. And it was every time someone came up, it was like a puzzle. And it was just like, so you're putting these pieces together to come up with a solution. Right. And honestly, I would have kept doing that forever if it kept paying the bills. Right. But times got tough with the pandemic, and I just couldn't support myself anymore doing that. So
because of their cuts, not your problems.
Problems. And I know
you were still doing the same thing. You were still an amazing manager, and you were kicking butt in sales.
Yeah.
You were doing the same or more sales, but companies nowadays are really cutting back.
Absolutely. And anyone out there that works for any type of big company, though, they're experiencing that pain. Like, it wasn't just a me thing, and it wasn't just that industry thing. It's all over the place. Yeah. So about 4 years ago, I decided, like, hey, I'm like, I want to look into doing something different, and that's when housing came along, and it's something I've always been passionate about. Okay. Like, it's when I got into cell phones, I hated the cell phone industry. And and everyone usually hates getting a cell phone and that sort of thing. Yeah. And then I moved into real estate, and it's an industry that I was like, I hated that industry, but you know what? If you want to make a change in something, it's good to be
in it. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that's where we met, and that's what drove me to leave my former brokerage and come here. Was you have that passion to make that change, to disrupt the status quo. Right. And what you were talking about earlier about the technology, like that part too, like the brokers that we work for, they're insanely tech forward. Like, when I remember when we first started,
EXP Realty's is who
like you showed me their workplace, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And it was it's basically like a metaverse.
Yeah, it is. EXP world.
Yeah. So like you log in and you've got your little avatar. It's kind of like Sims.
Yeah.
But like you're like, okay, you've got some training, so you log in and you walk down to the training auditorium, and there's hundreds of other people
and
there,
it's live.
And it's all live.
Like it's live. Like when I was checking out EXP Realty, because I started my own brokerage in 2016, so I did that for a few years, and then someone had talked to me about EXP. I said no, like I own my own brokerage. I'm good. I don't need to switch brokerages. And then when I heard their concept, I was like, wow. I went in the world on like a guest pass.
Yeah.
And I started asking little avatars in there. I'm like, hey, I'm from Canada. I'm thinking about joining. Random people, like just walking up to random people in there and asking them what they thought of EXP. And I'm like, wow. Like the feedback.
It was pretty cool.
Was pretty awesome. Yeah. And so it's a pretty neat thing.
Well, that was even a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a training, and we had this. It was kind of like a networking part of the training. So it was like you go to the auditorium and sit at a table, and the other avatars come. And there were so many people from BC. That was surprising. Every time I went to, it was just like, oh, I'm from BC. I'm from BC. I'm from Alberta, and it was cool. And then you get to share these stories with people that you wouldn't normally.
Be able to interact with.
Yeah, you could on a Zoom, which is, but it was like a next level, and it's that tech that really kind of it drew me in. Like, I love like the virtual tours and the drones and all these things that are relatively new to the real estate industry that I think will eventually evolve the entire industry, and I feel like the brokerage or the company that we're with is at the forefront of that. So,
yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm pretty excited to see where that's going. Mm-hmm. But it's fun. Like, and that's at the end of the day, that was the one thing that kind of drew me to it. It's fun. Like, no one wants to like live this miserable 9-to-5, mind-numbing day in day out. Like, you want to have some excitement in your life.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's one of the core values of EXP is fun, right? And so that's kind of what drew me to them as well, because with my own brokerage, I could have my hot pink and I could have, the different things, the creativity that I want without being hindered by, some of the brokerages are like, no, you can't do that. You need to use this. We follow all the RICO rules, but at the same time, EXP allows us to be as creative as we want, as long as we're following the RICO rules. Yeah. And so, we can charge whatever commission we want. We can have what other, colors we want. Mm-hmm. We can have pretty much, there's no limit to what we can do.
Well, it's like our branding now. Like how cool is that we were able to like just start something fresh and exciting. And
awesome.
Like they didn't say like, no, you can't do that. Like, no, you don't have to get all these. Like it was
approvals for everything.
Yeah, like it's a supportive environment, and that's what kind of drew me to it. I know it sounds like I'm trying to sell the brokerage, but I'm really not. This is just my personal opinion on it.
Because you've only been with the brokerage for 6 months now. Yeah, so
6 months, but I can tell you, it's the tools that are available to you, they're endless.
Yeah, they're endless. I mean, like, you could literally be up every single night learning this stuff.
Yeah, which is, it's happened.
Yeah. I believe it.
Well, it's something that, I was recently diagnosed, but I was diagnosed with ADHD about a year ago. Uh-huh. So it's something I've had my entire life, and never really knew about it.
Oh, okay.
So it's, stuff like that drives me, where it's just like I see something and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be on this for like the next 2 days and nonstop. And having those tools available where I can go down that rabbit hole, it's been fantastic. Yeah. But
it's feeding your ADHD.
It is a little bit. It is, but it's nice knowing that I can go, like, if there's a question I have answered and it's 2 in the morning, I can pop into this world, and it doesn't have to be someone from Windsor. It doesn't have to be someone from Ontario. I can talk to
It's anyone. Actually international. So, I mean, there's people in there from, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
Paris. There are people in there from Portugal, Spain, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing,
Over 83,000 agents now.
85, I think, now. 85,000, yeah.
It's growing quick.
So,
and it's kind of cool. Like, you ask people out there, they're like, when they ask, like, what company do you work for? And you say EXP, and a lot of them are like,
yeah, what's that?
Yeah, what is that? Mm-hmm. And they don't realize how big the company really is.
It's publicly traded. It's international. It's, you know what I mean? It's huge.
Yeah.
And it keeps on growing. It's the fastest growing international brokerage in the world. Like the other brokerages might be bigger, but they're not growing as fast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the goal, I think, in the next 10 years is a million agents is the goal.
That's wild.
So, yeah.
Well, it's kind of neat too, because like it's when you look at the way everything's kind of going now, with the pandemic really accelerated it.
Yeah.
It's the sad, but it seems like it's the end of brick and mortar. So a lot of people don't want to go out, and they don't want to go and wait for an appointment in an office. They don't want to get all dressed up to go and do paperwork. Like they want to do stuff from the comfort of their home. And I feel like a lot of companies are slow to make that adaptation.
Yeah.
They want to look at EXP. They're right at the forefront. They're like let's get this online. Let's get this virtual. And the up and coming generation, that's something I find they're passionate about, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have to go out to my bank to sign paperwork.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
There's no way I'm getting up and getting dressed and going to do that. Like I would rather wake up, throw on a dress shirt, if anything, even if it's a meeting, throw on a dress shirt, toss on the PJs, because no one needs to see waist down anyway, and just have the meeting. And then you know what? You're done. You don't have to drive to lunch. You don't have to drive home. You don't have to deal with rush hour traffic if you're in a bigger city. Like it's kind of neat the way things are going.
That's great. Yeah.
I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent about working from home, but
you like it. I'm gonna put my 2 cents in there. I do not. That's why we have this cute little office here in Riverside, because I still have 3 kids at home. I have a dog and 2 cats, and my husband is home because he works for me as well. And so I don't like working from home. I despise it, and I got rid of my big office right before COVID hit. Little did I know COVID was going to hit, but everyone was regretting not giving up their office before COVID. But I was crying because I'm like, now I have nowhere to go, and I want to like get away. Everybody's at home. All the kids were home, and I really needed an office to go to during those. And so I quickly found this. So I think it's going on. Yeah, it's 2 years we've had this now, but man, I needed an office. So, I mean, everyone works differently, but to have the EXP world, to have support there, you know, with you working from home.
Well, even on the note of the office, that was another one of the driving factors of me coming here too as well. I'm going to talk about convenience, and I didn't mention this before, but I grew up in Riverside. Like I born and raised, lived in Riverside pretty much my entire life. I literally live a block away from this office, which is fantastic.
Lucky you. I live in South Windsor. I know. I'm like, why did I choose this office so far away? But
well, it worked out for me. So
mostly everyone that I've hired recently in the last few years have all lived in Riverside.
It's a great community.
It is.
It's everyone's kind of passionate about their own communities. Like you've got. I know I've had some buddies that have moved out to Tecumseh, and they love it now. I have a bunch of buddies that moved out to Lakeshore. They love it. LaSalle, they love it. But you know what? Your community,
that's where you grew up. That's where you went to grade school. That's where you played hockey. That's where your buddies were, you know.
Like Riverside Ranger.
Streets, you know.
Like Brennan High School. St. Thomas Grade School, which if anyone that grew up in Riverside might remember that. It's a bunch of houses now, but... it's a great community. Like, and
it's great being here. Yeah.
I don't think I ever really want to leave Riverside.
See, that's the difference between you and I.
I think that's the 24 homes versus the
24 homes. Yeah. I've lived in Tecumseh. So Tecumseh, LaSalle, South Windsor 3 times, Emeryville, where else? BC twice. We moved back and forth. Oh, we've lived at, St. Clair Beach twice. Kingsville. Lived in Kingsville. I grew up in Kingsville, but we also lived there with the family. So yeah, I've lived everywhere. So if you want to know about a location, an area, and living there, I did that for my clients. I've lived there. I can tell you what it's like.
So if you had to pick one of those neighborhoods and or communities that you lived in that you had to say was your favorite, could you say that? Is there one that stands out?
Well, they're all so different. That's the thing. I loved Kingsville because I grew up there as well.
Okay.
And it's really gotten even better now. I mean, when I grew up in Kingsville, it was, I don't know, my first job was at the Video City Plus. Like it was.
I sound like a Blockbuster type thing.
Yeah, a little small mom and pop. I was like 14.
Okay. Family Video.
Yeah,
that was the one when I was
very
a kid.
not as many cute things happening. I mean, the big thing when we got like the vintage goose, which was like the first really cool, and we had one tea shop, but it wasn't the Annabelle's. It was something different back then. But there was a couple cute, but it wasn't like anything like what it was now. I also liked St. Clair Beach. It was nice and quiet. We were kind of near Beach Grove, so it was kind of in a few little windy streets there.
Okay.
LaSalle was good. My husband doesn't really love it because he says you can smell the smell from like Zug Island or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'd move back to LaSalle, I think, because that's close to everything. I find that's the closest location near. It's near our church. It's near the kids' school. They go to school in South Windsor. We have to drive them. Yeah. So I mean, if I move right now, I'm in South Windsor, but I think that if we made a move, it would be LaSalle with like a bigger property, kind of not neighbors so close.
Well, even with LaSalle too, the construction of the Gordie Howe Bridge is probably going to be like monumental for them.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Quick access across to the border. I mean, it'll be nice taking anything but that dilapidated bridge that we call the Ambassador Bridge.
Kind of scary.
But
okay, well, we should wrap it up. Probably, I guess we're boring people by now.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, so it was great tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Or listening.
Talk to you next time.